Hello, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you tonight, February 15, 2022, to Black History program. We really appreciate your presence tonight, and we hope that you will enjoy what has been planned for you. Guest speaker, Mr. Hartley Kinney. Thank you so much for playing that for us. It was really nice, and I do hope that we all enjoyed it. So at this time, Dr. Derrick, I'm in order now. You may present or introduce our next speaker, please.
Wonderful. Thank you very much once again, Lillie Lane. Really appreciate it. You are a super duper hostess. Anyway, this, as I said earlier, before, that really and truly, for those of you, that is where snow is, and the snow is falling left, right, and center and you have to be shoveling snow. This person is one of the best real estate agent you can find in Florida. So if you want a little piece of land, you want a big piece of land, you want it by the river, you want it by the lake, you want it by the sea, wherever you want your little piece of land, just speak with me and I will forward your number to this next presenter, which is, he also has his PhD, because I know he also prays him daily. So he also has that PhD there. And that's Hartley Kenny. He's a man with a heart, and his name says it all, said it all. He's a family man. He has a daughter, a lovely daughter, and a beautiful wife. But when you're ready to come and stop battling with that snow, just talk with him and he will assist you with that little piece of land, or if you want a house on the land also, he can assist you with that. But without any further ado, we're going to play another song. We're going to play another song just before his presentation, because it has something, his presentation has something to do with this gentleman in this song.
Running, I can hear the elders saying, these are the days for which we've been praying. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. It's repatriation, black liberation. Yes, the time has come. Black man, you're going home. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. I can see them coming, I can see hydrants running, I can hear the elders saying, these are the days for which we've been praying. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. Marcus Garvey told us, freedom is a must. He told us that the Black Star liners are coming one day for us. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming in the harbor. 7 miles of Black Star liners. 7 miles of Black Star liners. 7 miles of Black Star liners coming, 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 coming for I and I, for I and I, for I and I and I, and I, for I.
Wonderful. I now present Hartley Kenny.
I guess I am new to the Zoomiverse, and happy to be here with everybody. Just want to go through a brief exchange, very brief. The question that I have for us at this time is Black history relevant in the 21st century? And that is a question that we all need to look at. Why do we need it? Has the post-racial society been realized? And we'll begin to explore those questions in a little bit in looking at two figures which I wanted for us to look at. One is Marcus Garvey, and two is a gentleman named Vivian Thomas. So I have two problems with Black History Month. What are my two problems? I believe there is no such thing as Black history. Why? Because there is no such thing as a Black race. See, people define themselves in a geographic and familial terms. And the definition of itself as Black has problems. Because who do you call Black? Many issues with that. So we have to look on a broader scope and not consider ourselves the way other people define us. We are much greater people. We're much more powerful people than we would be led to believe. What's my second problem? My second problem is with Black History Month. I don't believe that there should be a Black History Month. Why? Because the contributions that Africanized people have are far larger than 1 month. You cannot use 1 month to describe the contributions that the Africanized people have made. The very civilization is pinned on these Africanized people. So why one and the shortest month to try to explore things that go way beyond our capacity? And so many of us lock ourselves in a mental slavery in thinking that we're less than, in thinking that we should only get the second best when we own the entire ship. So I ask, how do we see ourselves? Do we lock ourselves into a stereotype? Do we feel that we deserve second best? Do we look at ONPASSIVE as just a little thing for us? Or do we say, this is what I deserve? I deserve to go not only global, I shouldn't be restricted to anything because the Creator says, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and He has given me title to this. So within this month that we are given, let us not restrict ourselves to just learning about others in 1 month. Let it be our entire lifetime. Not 1 month, not 2 months, not 3. The entire 12 months should remind us who we are and that we're a strong people. And that has nothing to take away from anybody else because everybody else looks at themselves greatly. We are the only set of people have been brainwashed into looking at ourselves less than, thinking that we deserve less than. And so it is a thing that we should embrace, and others should embrace us into saying, welcome. You know, there is a term, Dr. Derek, that I think that the definition was terribly done. And it was a movement which said Black Lives Matter. And then the police came out with one and said, well, police lives matter. And then some people said green people's lives matter and gay lives matter. And you missed the boat. So it should have said Black Lives Matter also, because people get this idea that because my life matter, you're saying that I'm not worth it. So we need a change in tone, a change in understanding. We belong here just like anybody else. We are worthy just like anybody else. We are worth it just like anybody else. So we should not get second best. If I pay the same taxes, then I deserve a seat at the table. And so we have to bring ourselves out of this mindset where we are second best and get to the mindset where we deserve the best because we have a Creator who gave us the best. So let us live in that conscience. So I want us to look on the contribution of these two men. The first, Marcus Garvey. Now, many people think that Marcus Garvey is a Jamaican. Marcus Garvey is not a Jamaican. Marcus Garvey was a Pan-African. His home was Africa. He was born in Jamaica, but he never viewed himself as a Jamaican. He went to Panama. He went to the United States in New York. and he started the UNEA, the uh, United Negro Improvement Association. And that was to bring our minds into a portion where we would move up to a level that we were worth it like everybody else, because our minds were so beaten down. And so this was the role that Marcus Garvey tried to bring to simple folk, to say, look, you are worth it. You are worth it. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what they say about you. The color of your skin should not relegate you to the second best. And this was the story that Marcus Garvey tried to inculcate in the minds of others. Now, the other things, the problems that Marcus Garvey had was, one, with many detractors, not detractors on the other side, detractors among his own race, because we had W.E.B. Du Bois, who called him the little fat black man, tried to denigrate his contributions. And there was a real war going on at that time, because Du Bois considered himself one of the elite. And of course, Du Bois was light-skinned. And so we had certain issues going on of jealousy, because Marcus Garvey was bringing up a huge amount of following. So we also looked at what brought him down and who brought him. There was a gentleman named J. Edgar Hoover. He was the FBI special agent. Sadly, he was the very same person who prosecuted Martin Luther King. Now, isn't that bizarre? The same person who went after the first civil rights icon went after Martin Luther King too. So we look on the concerted effort, and some people have argued about Marcus Garvey's legacy and said it got railroaded when Marcus Garvey decided to negotiate with the Ku Klux Klan, because he felt that they were the ones that were running America. So the founders of the NAACP had some argument with him. And we know ultimately later on, charges were trumped up, and Marcus Garvey was put in jail. And when he started to get ill, they did not want him to become a martyr. So he got deported. And so that tapped down the Black pride, the rise that the UNEA movement was trying to bring into place. So as business people and small business, what can we learn from Marcus Garvey? One, we need to depend on each other. We need to stop being selfish. We need to build. And so this is one of the things Marcus Garvey's movement has taught. The other thing is, whenever you begin to move in a positive step, there will always be people pulling at your coattails to try to pull you back down. And unfortunately, some of those people look the same as you. So what do? You have to rise above. You have to use excellence. You have to have a spiritual connection, because whenever you make that move to climb to the top, you're always going to get resistance. Ever seen a bicycle race, Tour de France, or any of those races? There is one person who rides out in the pack, and that person meets the most resistance, the leader of the pack. So everybody lines up behind that person until that person breaks the wind. And then that's when we can win the race, when we fall in line behind the one who's breaking the wind for us. And so if we should move up and succeed, let us not look to ourselves and say, it was all me. There are people who came before you. There are people who had to break that wind. There are people who had to build for you, because without those forerunners, we would not be where we are. In closing, the second person I wanted us to look at this African history is a gentleman named Vivian Thomas. Now, I had a personal connection, so to speak, with this gentleman. Vivian Thomas was a lab associate, and he was at the University Johns Hopkins School of Medicine. Now, at that time, there were babies who had heart defects, and the heart defects would cause them to turn blue babies. So the chief surgeon, they asked him if he could work out some kind of surgical intervention. Well, he turned it over to his lab assistant, who never went to medical school. He was hoping to go to medical school, but he lost all his money, never went to medical school. He was a black man, Vivian Thomas. And so he worked out the surgery. He designed the surgery. And when it was time to do the surgery, Dr. Blaylock was about to start the surgery, and he stopped. And he requested that they would bring Vivian Thomas into the operating room. And it was Vivian Thomas who directed him how to cut and how to have this surgery done. And so we have now successful surgeries being done every day on the babies, of the hearts of babies, all because of Vivian Thomas. Now, the connection that I have, I was in a surgical suite in South Florida. And while in the surgical suite, I was talking of different surgeons, and I spoke about Vivian Thomas. And the surgeon turned to me and says, "Wait a second, do you know that guy?" I said, "No, I read about it." He says, "That guy taught me surgery." He says, "That guy was the most brilliant guy ever. Never went to medical school, but he was teaching surgeons surgical techniques." Look him up, Vivian Thomas. He has designed a lot of medical devices. And the sad thing was, Johns Hopkins refused to give him an MD degree, even though he was doing surgical teaching and surgical directions. They gave him a Doctor of Laws because they said that it would be a liability for the university, so they never gave him an MD degree. They gave him a doctorate. So these are the presentation of the two Black heroes that I see. Now, as far as business goes, do the best, be the best, settle for nothing less, and you too will be excellent in your own right. I thank you for listening. I thank you for inviting. I'll turn it back to Dr. Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. Kinney, for that awesome presentation. Thank you so much. And we also want to thank that angel that Dr. Derrick talked about that sent you to him at the last minute. Thank you so much. It was very, very, very informative.